Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a topic that honestly strikes a chord with so many of us. And frankly, it's a pretty painful reality to confront. We're getting into the psychology of boundaries. Specifically, we're looking at why being a people pleaser so often results in getting completely crushed by the world rather than respected by it. If you've ever felt like your kindness is just constantly taken for granted, well, this explainer is designed exactly for you. We're going to unpack some hard truths about human behavior and, more importantly, talk about how you can actually reclaim your power.
So, let me ask you this. Is being nice your biggest weakness? You know, a lot of us walk through life believing that being overwhelmingly nice is our absolute greatest strength. But let's look at how this actually plays out in reality. You listen to everyone. When someone asks for help, boom, you're immediately ready. If someone calls, you're always available. If someone is rude to you, you just stay quiet. If they ignore you, you stay perfectly polite. You basically become the unofficial weekend shift cover. But the very second you actually need a favor or some support yourself, suddenly everyone is inexplicably busy. It's frustrating, it's isolating, and honestly, it's the core symptom of a much deeper psychological issue.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the nice guy problem, then look at availability and your value. After that, we'll hit dark psychology and power, followed by the concept of the controlled monster, and wrap up with some real ways to set boundaries. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, the nice guy problem.
Society often pushes this idea that being a nice guy or a nice girl automatically makes you a good person. But psychologically speaking, those two things are very, very different. A nice guy isn't just someone doing good deeds. It's someone who tries to please absolutely everyone, completely devoid of personal boundaries. It's the person who says yes out loud when their brain is literally screaming no. It's smiling on the outside while you're hurting on the inside. And when you do this, you're actively trading your own self-respect just to make someone else comfortable. You're prioritizing their ease over your own basic dignity.
Which brings us to Section 2, availability and your value.
Now, what's really interesting here is this deeply ingrained rule of human psychology. It operates a lot like basic economics. Basically, whatever is constantly, effortlessly available automatically loses its value. Think about the signals we broadcast. If you're always free, if you instantly reply to every single message, and you're constantly adjusting your schedule to fit someone else's mood, you are silently telling the world, hey, my time isn't important, I don't have boundaries, hurting me is no big deal. And because of that, people stop treating you as a person to be respected and start treating you as an option of convenience. Now contrast that with high-value signals. When your time is limited and your boundaries are fiercely enforced, you communicate that you actually value yourself. And here's the secret. When you value yourself, the rest of the world follows suit.
All right, let's move into Section 3, dark psychology and power.
We're moving past simple social dynamics here and into the slightly darker realities of human nature. The truth is, your boundless kindness might actually be activating predatory behavior in the people around you. We really have to look at this brutal but necessary idea from Machiavelli. It is better to be feared than loved. Now, let's be totally clear. This does not mean you should become some cruel, tyrannical person. Not at all. The real psychological meaning in our modern context is that if people only keep you around because of your niceness, they're never going to take you seriously. Respect is born when others recognize that you are good, yes, but you are absolutely not weak. You'll help, but you won't be used. You're polite, but you will never tolerate insults. You just have to prove that you aren't defenseless.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core concept of the Lucifer effect. The whole idea here is that normal, everyday people can actually become incredibly cruel when they're handed absolute power over a situation. And guess what? When you have zero boundaries, you are handing them that exact power. If you just stay quiet after every insult, forgive every manipulation, and say okay to every single selfish demand, you are literally training them. You're teaching them that they can do whatever they want to you and there will be zero consequences. People respect boundaries that are difficult to break. If you don't have any, you're just inviting exploitation.
So how do we fix this? Section 4, the controlled monster.
We need to completely reframe what goodness actually is. Listen, true kindness is never a weakness. True kindness is a conscious choice, made from a position of absolute power. A weak person is only nice because they literally have no other options. They just lack the capacity to stand up for themselves. The world ruthlessly exploits weak goodness, but it deeply respects controlled strength. To really anchor this, let's look at a powerful concept from psychologist Jordan Peterson. You should be a monster, and then you should learn how to control it. To command respect, you must cultivate the capacity to be dangerous, but you consciously choose not to be destructive. You have to be incredibly strong, but never abusive. Entirely firm, but not rude. If you want respect, you've got to wake up that strength inside you, acknowledge it, and then keep it perfectly on a leash.
A great way to visualize this in everyday life is what the source material calls the Ayanokoji mindset. Basically, you appear polite, but you are entirely firm. Let's say a coworker tries to dump their massive project on your desk at 4 p.m. on a Friday. You remain completely calm. You don't make unnecessary noise. You don't cause a massive dramatic scene. You simply say no. But beneath that calm exterior, your boundaries are utterly unbreakable. No one is crossing them. This is what the controlled monster looks like in practice. It's not about yelling or flexing. It's just a quiet, undeniable strength that simply does not allow for disrespect.
Let's move to our final piece, Section 5, Ways to Set Boundaries.
We've talked a lot about the psychology. Now let's get into the highly actionable steps you can actually implement today. Here are 3 exact steps to reclaim your power. Step 1, learn to say no without excuses. Just say, no, I won't be able to do that. That's it. You do not need to present evidence like you're in a courtroom to justify your own decisions. Stop over-explaining. Step 2, make your time premium. Don't instantly reply to every message. Don't be perpetually available for everyone else's plans. Give access to your energy only to the people who deserve it. Because remember, things that are rare are valuable. And step 3, stop fearing conflict. This one is absolutely crucial. Conflict does not mean fighting, yelling, or being aggressive. Conflict simply means calmly and clearly communicating your limits. If someone crosses a line, calmly say, that behavior is not acceptable to me. You don't need to be loud, you just need to be crystal clear. Because if you don't write the rules for your own life, trust me, the world will gladly write them for you.
Which brings us to our final thought. You must be a good person, absolutely. But do not be so overwhelmingly nice that people mistake your goodness for weakness. You need to be the person who can protect themselves, not the person who constantly needs protection from the rest of the world. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to really ponder. What is the biggest loss you've faced in your life simply by playing the nice guy? Think about that for a second. Let us know your answer down in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.